first slide, please. Okay.
Have you ever felt stressed out about your GPA? If you have, you're in the right place today, because we all feel this kind of pressure. I'd like to tell you a little story about a math teacher. A math teacher asked the students, I'd like you all to calculate how many seconds there are in a year. So the teacher expected it would take a long time, but right away one of the guys raised his hand and he says, I know. And the teacher said, oh, I'm sure it's wrong, but she calls on him and the guy says, 12. The teacher says, wrong. That is not the correct answer. But I'm curious, how did you come up with that answer? The boy says, well, January 2nd, February 2nd, March 2nd, there are 12 seconds in the year. This is exactly why you should never be stressed out about your GPA. That's my talk for today. Well, actually, I do have a little bit more to say about the GPA. When I was in high school, I felt totally stressed out, not only about my GPA because my parents wanted me to get good grades, but I also felt stressed out because I felt like I was surrounded by all kinds of other people, all my peers who were smarter or prettier or more athletic or more popular. So much pressure in high school. But I did have something that I really liked, and that was English. I wasn't able to get great grades in all my classes, but I knew that if it was English class or if it was a class where I could write a lot of essays, I knew I could pull off some good grades. So English was always my passion, and as I got into high school, I started reading books from all over the world, and I got so into reading these books about all over the world, I could not wait to travel and see the world. It really excited me to think about travel. And so from that point, I knew what I wanted to do. And my teachers were telling me, well, you should go major in English. And so that's what I did. And as I got more toward my senior year, I realized what? I've got pressure because I've got to get a good GPA so I can get into a good school. And then when I started working on my bachelor's, my professors told me, well, you should go get a master's. It will help you if you want to be a writer or a professor. So then I had the pressure of getting a good GPA of my bachelor's for my master's. And the same thing, once I got my master's, the teacher said, oh, well, you should go get your doctorate because then you can be a professor of English and you can be a writer. It will help you if you ever want to be a writer. And so guess what? More pressure, right? Pressure of the master's for the doctorate. And then even when you get your doctorate, you realize, well, I need a good GPA so I can get my first job. So this pressure continued for many, many years. By the time I was in my late 20s and I had completed all of my doctoral coursework, I was left with two things to do. My comprehensive exams and my dissertation. Now, if anybody knows anything about comprehensive exams, it involves two things, at least in the school that I went to and the program I was involved in. Written exams and oral exams. Now, I always felt pretty confident about my ability to write, but this is not just written tests, right? You study for months so that you can sit in a room for hours, a couple days in a row, to write responses to the questions that your professors prepare for you. And then after you go through all of that, then you have oral exams where you sit in a conference room like this, and you have 4 major professors hitting you with questions for hours that you have to answer. Well, let me tell you about the biggest failure ever in school. After studying for all those months, writing all those answers, and going through all those oral exams, I found out that I failed. Not only did this affect my GPA, it also meant that I couldn't qualify to take these tests again for another entire year. Another year of life. Studying again, months and months to prepare for these written exams and oral exams. So, although that was the worst experience I ever had in school, ultimately it was one of my best life lessons ever. Because I realized that if you have a big goal, you will experience failure. And you have to get through the failure and try again in order to move forward. So, I wrote a little, I believe in the magic of thinking big. And as a writer, I'm writing some lyrics for a famous rapper. I don't know who it is yet. But here's my little rap tune about the old, what I call the old GPA. And I need you to help me out here. I'm going to ask you to do something for me. I'm going to ask you to do stomp, stomp, clap. Stomp, stomp, clap. Okay, stomp, stomp, clap. We need a new way to calculate the GPA. One that's smart and has a heart. When you're in school, you want to be cool. But sometimes you feel like a fool. What is up with multiple choice? Don't they know I have a voice? One more test, just do your best. Do that you can cope. You try your best on every test, but there's so much stress to make it to success. I need all A's, but school is such a maze. I just want to shout, oh, help me out. Your GPA tells your ABCs, but what's the point? Oh, tell me please. This is absurd that my strengths are blurred. I just pray that I'll be okay. What's this all about? Am I in or out? How do I rate? Can I become great? We need a new way to calculate the GPA, one that's smart and has a heart. That is the old GPA. What if we could create an entirely new GPA? One that was completely different. Simon, help me out and flip to the next slide here. What if there was a GPA that could last your lifetime? One that told a story about your gifts, your passions, and your accomplishments. What if G stood for gifts instead of grade? Imagine that at the end of a semester, you're in a class, and you get to stand up in front of the class, and all of your classmates and your teacher shout things out to you about what you're good at. Somebody says, oh, you were a great team lead. Maybe one day you're going to be an owner of your own company. Oh, you're a great listener. Maybe you should be a counselor or a psychologist. Or, hey, you're a great writer. Maybe you're going to be a best-selling author one day. Imagine all this positive feedback coming to you at the end of a class instead of a grade. How would that feel? Right? If you've ever heard of LinkedIn, they have a tool like this. Have you ever seen on LinkedIn where you list out your skills and all of your peers and colleagues tell you what you're good at? My peers and colleagues tell me that my #1 skill is leadership. It actually, when that number started popping up toward the top, when that first started happening, I was actually surprised that other people were seeing in me, but that grew my confidence. You see how important it is to get this feedback from your peers, right? What are your gifts? What if P stood for passion instead of points? What are you passionate about? Here are a few questions you can ask yourself to understand your passions. What are the things that keep you up late at night and wake you up early in the morning? What is it that you can do for hours and hours and lose track of time? Forget about time entirely. What is it that makes you really angry or extremely happy? The extremes of the emotions. Now, don't confuse your passion with your pastimes. We all have pastimes where we waste time. But your passions are the things that you do that add value to others. I'm passionate about learning. I get very bored if something is very repetitive. So I have been a lifelong learner. I have 6 degrees, a bachelor's, a master's, a doctorate, and 3 associates. I have worked in 5 totally different industries. I have have traveled to dozens of countries on 4 continents. I've lived in 3 different countries, the United States, France, and China. I've been a leader actually in 2 nonprofit organizations, but I still have one big accomplishment that I want to do that's in front of me. I want to be a best-selling author. That's my passion, learning and writing. What is your passion? What if A stood for accomplishments instead of average? When I got all of these 6 degrees, guess what I got at the end of each degree? 2 things: a diploma and a transcript. And on the transcript, it's a list of all the classes I took, the grade I got, and my GPA for all that work. What if instead you created your own transcript that was a list of your accomplishments? Again, this lasts a lifetime. When I was in high school, I was editor of the school newspaper. When I was in college, I was actually a professor. I was an assistant professor, and then later I became a corporate trainer. Today I'm a leadership development consultant. This is something you can keep a list of your entire life. What are your greatest accomplishments? And what accomplishments do you still have in front of you? Society is going to give you many numbers in your lifetime. Your GPA when you're young, your height, your weight, your age, your credit score, your net worth, right? All these numbers are always going to be assigned to you. You can't do much about it. So you have to stay focused on what it is you want and make your own list. Now, when I track my accomplishments as a writer, I measure my accomplishments by how many blog post articles did I put out? What are the hits I'm getting, right? That's how I know if I'm being successful at my gifts, my passion, my accomplishments, my purpose, right? We all need to set our own measures. So I propose that today we throw out the old GPA and we bring in the new GPA. Are you with me? Okay. So I have a little, one more little rap tune on the new GPA. Can you help me out? Stomp, stomp, clap. Stomp, stomp, clap. This is the new way to calculate your GPA. Get in touch with your passion and get into action. Your new GPA is just one of your measures. Your mind is full of many, many treasures. Make a habit every day to learn and grow. You'll be surprised at how much you can know. Know your gifts and make some shifts. I'll give you a clue. The work is up to you. Don't let your GPA get in your way. You will be smart if you follow your heart. Have fun in school because it's your tool to live the life you want in big, bold font. Want to know the way to be happy every day? Follow your passion and discover satisfaction. My classmates know my heart and I know my part. This is good. I always knew I could. Here's a new twist. Make a long list of your abilities and give it to me, please. Don't worry about the rest. You can be the best. Set your goal deep down in your soul. Each college degree is like a giant key. It unlocks a door so you can do more. If you want to succeed, then study and read. Go travel abroad and you will be God. So this is the new GPA that can last your lifetime. What are your gifts? What is your passion? What are your accomplishments? You are important. You do matter. Your life matters. So go and put into action your new lifetime GPA.